It's not recording yet. Perfect. So let's just go. Perfect. So welcome, Gineen. And we're doing a little bit of a pre-recorded um, podcast today. We're not going live into the group. However, I am going to moderate this tomorrow, so I'll throw it up and still go live with them in the chat. So if anybody has any questions, just ask away and I'll be able to answer them live tomorrow as I moderate the chat. But so welcome, Gineen. I don't know, Gineen came into my life through the social media fairies, and yeah, really resonate with a lot of her messaging. So I reached out to her and I said, "Hey, I'm starting up my podcast again. Would you like to come and chat?" And she said, absolutely. So Gineen is here, and I'm really just learning so much about her too and her little journey. So, because she was just like, I don't even know, kind of like what you do, because we're just like we're dating.
Yes.
We're just getting to know each other.
This is like a first date.
Yeah, it is. So we're just
it.
dating. We're getting to know each other because I share a lot of her stuff on my social media because she puts it in such a eloquent way. I was just saying I'm more kind of like, just do it. And she's like, oh, like maybe, it could be done this way or this way. So I'm like, oh, this is a really nice way. I'm going to share this, right? So either way, everybody receives and likes information done differently, right? And so the way I communicate with people is going to resonate with some people, but it's not going to resonate with everybody. And it's same with you, right? So I like to share, and you do really nice visual stuff. Like, do you do that yourself, or do you have someone that does it for you? Do you want to give away all your secrets?
No, there's no secrets. I do it well with the help of Canva, Sir Canva.
Oh, okay.
Canva.
Yeah. I use Canva too all the time, but you do it yourself.
I do it myself. Yes.
Oh my God, you're brilliant. Okay, that's so inspiring. So I'm like, so she even does it herself. I like Canva and I do my own stuff, but not like you're very visual. So I like I like that. I'm not.
But it's funny. I'm not terribly. I wouldn't call myself tech savvy at all, but I make it work.
Honestly, Canva's pretty simple. It really, really is simple for stuff. So Gineen Nicholls. So if you're already wondering what the hell I'm talking about, just find her on social media and check out all her visually aesthetic coaching tips and tools. So I asked you because I know you work with women. Is it over a certain age? Why don't you tell us what you do?
Well, it ended up. I will. I like to say now that I try to help women get off the hot mess express and back to a more balanced and connected version of themselves. And everything that I do sort of just fell into my lap. I didn't plan to jump into the world of online coaching. I had been a personal trainer for years prior to. I'd been involved in the fitness industry in the late 90s. This is showing, we're dating ourselves here, but it's yes, I love it. So I had this big long career of personal training, teaching fitness classes, running my own little studio. And I know I had mentioned in the message to you that I had sort of hit this giant wall of burnout. And it was literally like this brick wall of burnout. So I ended up with a lot of hormonal imbalances, and I had gained a bunch of weight and I didn't know how to get it off. And I thought, oh my gosh, I should know my body better than this. But it was a really strange experience. And I learned so much about my body. So then when I started to tell my story after my healing process, which took about 6 years, nobody wants to hear that part, but it took some time. But my hopes after that was to help women maybe not have to spend 6 years getting back to a space of better health.
We can collapse time. 100% sure. That's what coaches do. We go through a life of hell to help you get through it like easily and effortlessly and quickly, right? Because once you get the right coaching, you're out fast And, sometimes we tend to get stuck in our suffering way too long. Like, honestly, we do. We think we can do
Mhm.
it ourselves, and we get into this rut of trying to figure everything out ourselves, and then we give up and surrender and
Yes.
get help and invest in ourselves, and then it's like a miracle. But really, it doesn't need to take that long. Does not. So
It
good for you.
doesn't. And so thanks. And so going back to your original question, and I will tell you that you may have to draw me back because I will get squirreled away a little bit.
Oh, well, you
But
did it. You
again, we're
did a
going.
good job yourself. I'm the same. So that's okay.
So I did end up with sort of that perimenopausal, menopausal age range.
Mhm.
Anywhere from 35 to 60 years of age is typically, that seems to be the market or the population that I have been working with. And I always say to the ladies in their 30s, this is the time. I mean, we should be taking care of ourselves all of our lives. However, if you can catch this stuff in your early 30s and even late 20s and really start taking care of yourself, you are going to be so much better off, and you'll have an easier time. Where I usually get connected with the women who are all of a sudden they're in perimenopause, and they're having all kinds of symptoms, and they're hitting the panic button, and they're like, holy smokes, how do
Yeah.
I get out of this?
Yeah. I think the 30-year-olds, I don't want to say they're on their own, because they're just gonna have to figure it out at this point. I don't think there's enough
Yeah.
education from
No,
previous generation for
I
that
agree.
generation. But my
I
kids
agree.
are definitely going to be a totally different generation. Why? Because I'm already educating them. So we need the education. So 30-year-olds, they're like, 5 years younger than me. No, just kidding. So like we need that education. So if we're just getting
Yeah.
educated now, right? Although I do feel that
Right.
it's more mainstream. Like I follow one coach, and she's in her early 40s, and I hear her talk about uh her cycle, and she talks about her period on her social media, and like I'm like, this is
Yes.
what we need to be hearing from women. We need to be hearing about our
Yes.
cycles. And so I'm not saying that there's no education for them. It's just that it's a programming, right? So we have to learn. So the more we talk about it, and the
Exactly.
more we, because it's still a taboo subject. My girls are still like, oh my God, mom, like, and I'm like, no, like we need to like ixnay, let's talk about this. Like, what day of your period on you? I don't care if Tyler's in the car. Like, what day are you on? Okay. So then I know. I'm like, oh, this is where you're at. Let me feed you some food. Let me just leave you alone. Let me, like, I know how to manage them better hormonally. I'm like, this is brilliant.
I know. I know. And I
Hopefully,
think
they
I
carry that.
love, yeah, I love that you're bringing that up, because I think women have to start talking about it more. And even with my close girlfriends, that's not something we talked about. We go out for dinner and we talk about, our husbands, or, our stressors, or our families, or whatever. But we wouldn't get into the conversation of, oh, I have no sex drive anymore.
No, or all it is like my period's really heavy lately. That's it. That's the extent of it. It's like, yeah,
That's
me
it.
too. Yeah, me too. Yeah, me too. Okay, great. And that's the end of
Yeah.
it. Like never mind the fact that, one now has a hysterectomy. One, it's like, oh my God, we could have like totally avoided all of that if we had just known
I
10 years
know.
ago a little bit more information than we do right now.
Yes,
Than
I
we know what we
agree. I
know now.
agree.
But it's coming. It's
Yes,
coming. It's great. So I'm so happy about that. I wish. And you know what? I make more of a point to
absolutely.
talk about it when people say, oh, it's this. I'm like, well, you're literally in the midst of perimenopause. So, there's so much you could do to manage that. Because let's talk about, the insanities of perimenopause on top of the stresses of life, right? Because
Mhm.
I think like you were talking about those 30-year-olds, like they're rocking it. Oh God, to be 30 again. They are rocking it. They're like, young families, their careers are getting launched. They're going to the gym. They're doing all the things. They're like up on fashion still.
Yes.
Like they're just rocking life. Everything is going great, right? And then I don't think you realize once those hormones start to decline, how much harder we have to work to maintain that energy level. And then it just is like the slippery slope down. And we think we'll just do more exercise. Oh, we'll just do more of this. Oh, we'll just do more of that.
Do more,
And
do more.
yeah, we're just doing more to offset the fact that this is just a natural progression. Like, actually, no, you need to start doing less now, saying no more often, saying yes only to the thing, right? Like, they don't get it. And they're still in the, I can do it. I'm going to, you know, and it's like, you don't realize until you get burnt out, until you realize that you're like, holy crap, I can't handle everything at this. I can't handle all that stress at this all at once, right? It's like and now, and so what I love now is that I'm like, oh, you know what? I could handle those stress levels. I can handle it, but only if I do all this offset of self-care. Like, I got to do more self-care to be able to do that much, right? And then I think we get to the point in our lives too. We're like, is it worth it? Is it really worth it? Those are the big questions I think they start asking themselves. Like, is it really worth it?
Yeah. Yeah. It's so funny. We get into this, it's like being on a hamster wheel. And a lot of the women that I work with, and that's sort of why I labeled this, you know, Superwoman, take your cape off, because they're all running these races of being the Superwoman. And, you know, I go to work, I'm an entrepreneur. I still, you know, I'm doing the housework. I'm taking the kids here and there. I'm arranging all of their activities and all of these hats that women wear. And I'm in love with, you know, when we talk about women's liberation, I love all of that. But I think we have to be, you know, or getting curious and saying, can we maybe be a little bit mindful with that phrase as well and say, yes, I'm capable as a woman. I can do all these things, but where we're getting maybe a little too much into the masculine energy and stepping out of our feminine energy.
Yeah, at what
where
cost?
we do need, at what cost? Yes.
At what cost? And that's the thing, that you know what you're costing? You're costing your femininity. You're costing your flow. You're costing your ability to receive. Like, when you start pushing harder, like you said, you dip into that masculine energy, where it helps to be like, we're duality, right? So we're both masculine, feminine.
Absolutely.
We need to have both. No one's saying you can't push hard and do hard things, but you have to remember to balance that. It's like, you know, light and dark, yin and yang, arm and hammer, pork and beef. Do you remember that movie, Who's That Girl, with Madonna? That was her thing. Like, we're not leaving. We're stuck together like frickin' frack, pork and beef, arm and hammer. Anyways, I went on a tangent. So
I loved that.
We're duality. We're duality. And so being in the feminine means being in flow. Things are easy and effortless. We're receiving. We're, you know, we're like the goddesses, where we're just like in our bliss. Maybe we're in a little bit of chaos too, because we thrive in that emotional, you know, stuff. That's when the masculine kicks in. The masculine keeps us on track. The masculine keeps us scheduled. The masculine keeps us, you know, but when you're really hard in the masculine and you're pushing, and you're not feeling the joys and the bliss, right? If you're not experiencing pleasure, you're not having fun, you're not, let's talk about when you're in too much of the masculine, you're not having fun, there's no pleasure, you're not feeling sexy, you're not confident, you're just like, I gotta grind and I gotta get this done. And it's that mentality that does us in, that does women in. Because no one's saying you can't hustle, but you got to flow too, and filling your cup. And this is, you know, they always talk about filling your cup, filling your cup, filling your cup. Once you get that, you fill your cup, that's your like energetic reserve, right? That's what you run your day on. If you start your day on a negative, like you're tired from the night before because, you know, you didn't go to sleep on time, you didn't eat properly yesterday, like you're in a negative. So if you're not optimally, and this is tough because, you know, young women who have families and all that stuff, like they're lucky if they're eating the crumbs off their kid's plate, right? But that has to
I
change.
know.
This is
I
where that
know.
has to change. Like you got to feed
I
yourself
agree.
first. Give me, you know, and women, it's like how many nights after you've kids, right, Gineen, right? So
I
how
have
many
fur
times,
babies.
right? Yeah. Oh, you have fur babies. They probably eat better than you do. Babies tend to eat better than like real children, but and even human
Yeah.
beings.
Oh, I
But
know. But I work
I
with
remember,
lots of moms who do
yeah,
that
I remember
same
nights when I
thing.
didn't have to cook, like the kids were at my mom's or whatever else, and I didn't have to cook. I'd be like, you know what? I'm just gonna drink a bottle of wine and have a bag of chips. Like I was like in bliss. I'm gonna put my feet up on the couch. That makes me cringe now. That makes me cringe. I'm like, no,
Hmm.
I'm gonna gourmet myself some like wild caught ham, salmon, and like because we should be nourishing ourselves, not, you know, like that's when we gotta serve us. We gotta like
Yes.
pamper ourselves.
Yes.
What do
Yeah.
you do
And
to
that could
pamper
also,
yourself? What do you do to pamper yourself? Give me some good examples. Let's give them great
ooh,
examples of pampering, nourishing the feminine. Like,
yes.
how do you like what makes
Yeah.
you feel
I just,
super, super feminine and
I love a good bath with essential oils,
listen,
making a nice tea, or I'll do like a blend, dandy blend latte, or even just going for a walk in nature, and just, I think, connecting with myself, or doing, I now here's where I can sometimes, I'm a recovering racehorse, and a recovering workhorse, and I didn't make the time to do little things that brought me joy. Even doing crafts or doing something creative, when I can bring out that creative side of me, I feel really
creative,
feminine.
femininities, creativity. Yes, love
Yes.
that.
Yes.
Wonderful,
Yes.
wonderful,
I
wonderful,
know. What
wonderful.
about you? What brings out that, like, feminine side for you?
Um, for sure a bath. If I can get rose petals, even better. I have a florist here and I do those rose petal goddess baths. Sometimes my
Now we're
husband will bring
talking.
me, yeah, sometimes he'll bring them home for me. He'll pick them up, but
That's amazing.
he'll be like, "You haven't had a rose petal bath in a while." That's my cue to go have a go relax, right? Like that's great. That's how they know. That's how you train them. You just gotta
Yeah.
get them knowing what makes you
Yeah.
happy and when they right, what makes you happy.
Yes.
So those
Yes.
things really. So baths are huge for me. One at least
Yeah.
one a week. I have a nice big soaker tub, Epsom salt bath. If I can get rose petals in it, great. Otherwise, I have a bath anyways. Um, for me, it's movement, walking. I'm a big energetic person, like in the sense that I don't know, for
Yes.
me, body needs movement
Yes.
for me to feel
Oh,
any
yes.
kind of sanity. I don't know why. So any kind of movement, even walks in nature. I
Mhm.
think over the last year, to help creativity, I've been doing psilocybin. So I've been experimenting with mushrooms, and I go for nature
Oh,
walks. So that's been something
that's
new
interesting.
for me because that is a vibrational lifter. So,
And yeah, we're so connected to nature. We've
right.
forgotten
So
that.
vibrational lifter, that's been a big one. Um, and now I'm really into things that just calm me. So I do a lot of tapping, so
Mm.
EFT,
I love
right?
tapping. Love it.
EFT. But so anything that brings me calm, but food gives me a lot of
Yes.
pleasure. Cooking good food for my family gives me food pleasure. Like it makes me feel
Oh,
really good
yes.
eating really good food. Um,
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
giving giving really good food to my family. Like so
Yeah.
when I see my family eat really well, that makes me happy.
That's
Like
joy, right?
it is. We had Thanksgiving here
Mm.
and I went and I got like a pasture raised fresh turkey and like I tried to make it as like organic as
Yum.
possible. And my husband like made this great announcement about the effort that I went to to make sure that
Aw,
as it just made me feel so good to
yes,
give them that, to give them
yes,
health. Health is my largest
yeah,
value, I think I'm learning recently. Like optimal health is
yeah,
like just that's what I value, I think, the most, more than anything,
yeah,
and affording it.
yeah.
Because
I know.
all those organic things is, it's not the cheapest option out there, right? So
Yeah,
it's,
yeah. I'll tell
full
the
self.
moms that I work with, and they struggle with that self-care piece. And I said, and I'll tell them, in a sense, you're actually robbing them. If you're not taking care of yourself, you are robbing from them having their experience of having the best version of you for your
Right.
kids, like having
That's
the
so
best version
right.
of their mom, right? You're
Yeah.
stealing that from them. And what a sin that they don't get to see that.
No. And we think we're being our best version, and we do the best that we can with the skills and tools that we have.
We do.
100%. No doubt about it. Like there is no woman out there that I could ever say you're not trying hard enough. Like if anybody
Oh,
said that to you, punch them in the face. Like I
yes,
every
yes,
every and run. Like every person, every woman is doing their best. Like especially if they have a family, they are nurturing or caring, they're doing their best.
yes,
Blank. So when they're frustrated or when they're not feeling, appreciated, or they're not even, they're tired or they're exhausted, this is where the level of self-care is like, it's almost like a little bit of a toxic trend self-care because, they're doing it not necessarily for the wrong reasons because they're doing it as self-care, but self-care either has to raise your vibration
hmm
or boost your energy or calm you. Like it has to give a physiological benefit. It can't make you feel guilty. It can't make you feel, if it makes you feel guilty, if you feel like what's a side, like a negative side effect to, like, I don't want to say the wrong self-care, but doing it for the wrong reasons. Like you feel you have to go get mani pedis because you see everybody else get mani pedis. It's like a comparison thing, right? Like that makes you feel
yes.
this is where like the know yourself, like what do
What lights
you
you up?
need? Like this is
Yeah,
unique to everybody, right? Like
yes,
what makes you feel like rich and fabulous and luxurious, and it could be like just like a great cream, taking time. I love taking time
yeah,
to put cream on, like it's like a
yeah,
ritual. Creating rituals, I think, is
yes,
something really, um taking your self-care to the next level. It's got to make you
yeah.
calm. Like rushing for a manicure to hurry up to get home because you have 1 hour to rush home, that is not self-care. That's not
It's
self-care.
no, that's I think that becomes self-care, like you had said, because we feel like we have to. This is what we should, or the shoulds. This is the way
Yes.
self-care should look. And a lot of women don't even know when I ask them, what lights you up? What feels good for you? And I was actually talking to a client this week, and do you ever have, and a fairly new client, and I was having just a hard time getting to the root of things. And we talk about things and talk about things. And I was like, oh, I just feel like we're in the fluff, right? And then the other night, she says at the very end of our call, she says, I don't know what lights me up anymore. And I could see it. And I was like, there it is. I said, there's the emotion that I am looking for. I want that. Because when we can get to that pain point, she was just literally like, I have no idea, like
Right.
who I am, what lights me up. And I could
And
see
that's
it, I could
okay.
feel it. And I was like, I was so excited because I was like, here we go. This is what
That's
we
a
need to
big
get at.
problem. That's a big problem for women. She's not the only
Yeah.
one. I bet you like
No,
95% of the women out there, they don't
I
know
was
what they
there.
want, right?
I
And
had
they
no
and
idea what light me up.
because you're programmed, they teach you, grow up, get an education, go to school, get married, have kids, find someone who's going to take care of you. This is my generation. Find someone who's going to take care of you,
Yes, mine too.
right? And then
Yeah.
have, hopefully you'll have grandkids, and then whatever, right? Like that's this trajectory. That's unconscious. We were
This is what you
literally
do.
unconsciously programmed to do that. And then we're like, okay, we've got the house, we've got we've got all the Christmas decorations, we've got all the matching pajamas, we've got all the, you know what I mean? And you're like, feel like shit. You're like, okay, so now what? This is it? Is this it? Is this where's the bliss? Where's the happiness? Where's the joy? And it's like you don't have it because you're just following other people's what other people think you should have, or people are showing you, oh, well, I admire this person. They have this. I'm going to do this. You have to
Yeah.
figure out what that is for yourself, and you have to get quiet, and you have to, that's the internal work. And, when you talk about a lot of, how the body hangs on to trauma and
Oh,
all these things and, levels of trauma in our lives. And this is where, trauma blocks our self-worth, right? And what we
big
truly
time.
believe we're worthy and deserving of. So sometimes it's not even in our awareness, right?
Yes.
So, this is why I think exercise is like the biggest benefit, because when you work your body hard enough and you sweat and you get through those layers, because trauma, like you said, is, cellular level,
Yes.
how it's stored at a cellular level. When you move your body to that extent and you sweat and you move it out and everything else like that, and you release layers, this stuff all comes to the surface. And this is
It
what,
absolutely can.
yeah, and this is what the stuff kind of that, gets your mindset going. And it's, there's so many ways that you can approach, dealing with trauma. We're not going to get into all of them, but because we're fitness and wellness,
That's another talk because
a
we
whole
could
nother,
go for hours.
let's, like just talk about, like the stuff that holds women back from doing it, even though they want to, they
Yes.
want this, joy,
Yes.
but they get stuck. They get stuck, following this trajectory. And
Yeah.
that's the self-work, that's getting quiet and figuring out what your needs
Yes.
and wants are. Like, hey,
And
what do you need and
we're
want?
so yeah, we're so disconnected. I really think that like a
Goals.
lot of the women I work with, they don't even have their feet on the ground. They're not grounded at all. So that how can you figure out what you want or what you need when your feet are not, when you're levitating, right? When you're not even grounded or connected. And it's interesting. I just finished, and when we talk about movement, and I think this is so important for like the busy bees and the doers and the superwomen of the world, and just taking that pause to get connected with our physical, like you said, when we move our bodies, we get connected. And I did a certification in somatic exercise not that long ago, and
Yes.
wow, like even for me, and I'm fairly connected with my body, but we did a whole weekend of somatic exercise. And I'm telling you, there were things that came up for me that I did not expect. And just that level of connection, I was like, wow. And this is where I want to use things like that to help women get more connected and slow the hamster wheel down. Because when I burned out, that was totally me. I was immersed in my business. I didn't have kids, and holy heck, if I had had kids on top of that, I don't know where I would have been. But I was the caregiver because my husband had been in a traumatic accident. I was holding on to trauma from that, and I was trapped in that space of trauma. And what did I do? Because I didn't have great coping skills to deal with the trauma, I pushed the gas pedal harder, because the easiest way out for me was just to push the gas pedal harder, do more, do more, do more. And then I had no time to feel the feels.
Yeah, distraction is a great coping
It's so
skill, right?
great.
A
It's so
while, right?
great. Yes.
Escapism. Let's just, bury ourselves in work, food, any kind of distraction, television, like the Netflix and chill has turned into like, a
Yes.
whole weekend of binge watching, and you're and then
Yes.
you wake up like Sunday night, you're like, crap, I did nothing all weekend. And the guilt kicks in, right? Like, so,
Exactly.
and not to say that you can't watch Netflix without guilt. That's not what I'm saying. It's just that,
Yeah.
it's to what extent are you escaping, the pains in your life, the
Yeah.
emotions that you don't want to deal with, and it's
Yes.
funny, like
Yeah.
trauma can come at any time in your life. And this is,
Anytime.
anytime. Like, I had a wonderful childhood, I had a blissful childhood, was talking about this the other day. My trauma honestly did not come until an adult and I went through a divorce. That was my first experience of like trauma, betrayal, like all loss, right? Like losing friends and experiencing grief really for
Yes.
the first time, right? Like,
Yes.
like a blissful, right up until, my late 30s, like right where perimenopause kicked in, right? Like, and I
Yeah.
think that this is really something for women to pay attention to because um, how we manage stress when we don't have those hormones like progesterone and estrogen, we don't handle stress. So all this stuff is coming at you, like,
Mm.
especially, adulting, like bills and responsibilities and house and, all those things that, life likes to throw at you. And like you said, having whether you had the right coping skills or not. And those we're taught those when we're young, good ones or bad ones. Our parents did the best they could
Exactly.
with the skills and tools that they had. Right? With my kids, I'm
Yeah.
always like, don't worry, mommy's going to pay for your therapy. Whatever I messed up on, I'm sure there's going to be something that you guys are going to blame me for. It's okay. I got you. I'll
Yeah.
pay for your therapy,
Yeah.
right? Like, I'm going
Yeah.
to tell you now, I messed you up somewhere for sure. So,
Yeah.
but with all the best intentions, right? So
Yeah.
when that those kind of trauma bits, I don't know, in dealing with those and going through perimenopause at the same time, right? Because it was only
Yeah.
how like I watched that video too of your husband's thing. It's really inspiring. I was like all choked up and
Hey.
everything. Like I was like that must have been a
Oh,
right, and it's been a while now. It's been over
it's
10
been a
years now,
while.
right?
Yes.
Yeah. But
Yes.
like to go through
Yeah.
something like that, like yeah, I totally get it.
Yeah.
I feel like you just saying like going through and everyone's gone through it, everyone's gone through their own traumatic experience.
Big T, little T, doesn't matter. Yep.
Yeah, it doesn't matter to get you to where you're, where we're at. I'm just saying it's like that the over 35 dealing with life stuff when you don't
Yes.
have the
Yeah.
not only we didn't have the awareness of what was going on with our body, but everything
Yeah.
seems crappy even when it's not. Because I don't know about you, I'm sure like even when the shit hit the fan, you were like, but I'm still so grateful for my life, and I'm still so grateful for
Oh,
all these things.
yes.
But
Yes.
why do I feel so blah? Like why do I feel like,
Yeah.
this is it?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay,
And
right?
I
Like I
think too,
used to have
like,
happiness in my life. Like where did it go? Like where did it go?
right? Where did it go? And I think I'm seeing a lot of women who, post pandemic, and I know we're all sick of talking about it, but I think, can we recognize that, hello, we've all just
That was
been
the
through,
trauma.
that was very traumatic for a
That
lot
was
of people.
3 years of trauma. It was for everybody. Everybody had
Yeah.
a traumatic
Yeah.
experience in one way, shape, or form through that pandemic, period.
Yeah.
Like if you didn't lose
Yeah.
your business or lose your job or knew somebody or got sick or got what, like it was, or, it was something for everybody. And so, and it's all
That's
just
a
coming out
lot.
now. I think we're just starting to see the side effects of
Yes.
all of that, but we all went through it at the
I
same
agree.
time. And I think that's what makes it so different than any other regular trauma is like we all were traumatized. The beginning of the pandemic, I did so well at holding space, and that's what burnt me out was holding space for people through the pandemic because just in my
Right.
coaching clients, my skills, my
Right.
tools, whatever else, like my tapping, like
Yes.
literally, but then um but then I had to go through it myself. Like I had to process my
Yeah.
own going through it too. I can't just put mine on a shelf forever while I helped everybody else manage the trauma
Right.
of that pandemic. Eventually I had to like take mine off the shelf and be like, okay, like let's deal with, what I have been going through and all of that. And so yeah, I did. I parked my business for I think last year. Yeah, the end of 2021. I was like, I'm done. Burnt out, no
Yeah.
fucks to give, like shut, like just was like done. I had to
Yeah.
go through that. I had to process all of that myself. So I totally get that when you just bringing that up, it's true, right? And then I didn't even realize I was perimenopausal through all of that. So I was oblivious to perimenopause. Like I'm 48, and so I had no idea because I had this little procedure that took away my period when I had my tubes tied.
Right. Right.
So I still have my uterus and I still have all my ovaries and everything is still there and I still have a cycle, but I don't
Yep.
have a physical bleed. So I never, so as most women, that's their gauge.
That's
Oh,
the
my periods
sign.
are.
That's the sign.
I had no idea. Even because I started gaining weight. Where's this all coming from, right?
Yeah.
So it's so ironic that now realizing I'm like, oh my God, I have been in literally a hormonal fog for 5 years, plus a pandemic. Add a pandemic in there.
Right.
I was so relieved. Like, I hope women, when they learn about what they can do to offset the loss of hormones, that they
Yes.
have a big sigh to be like, oh my God, okay,
I know.
okay, it's not
We
me. Really not me. It's just these
it's
hormones. Okay,
understanding
let's,
it.
yeah, let's figure this shit out. This has been the most
Yeah.
empowering 3 months. 3 months of my life where I was just like, hallelujah, like nothing I
I
can,
get it.
all the exercise that I was forcing myself through, like talk about forcing for 5 years, forcing myself, being in the masculine, forcing myself through, even forcing myself through getting into the feminine. I even forced myself through that, getting into the feminine, because
Yeah.
I was pushing against nature. I was working against Mother Nature. She was there the whole time. And the only way she could show me was through this weight gain. Because every time I'm like, well, I'll just do exercise more. Okay, I'll try this exercise. Okay, I'll try this diet. Okay, I'll try this diet. I was like,
Because that's
what
what we've
the
been told.
fuck? That's how we know. And
Exercise more, eat less.
right. I'm like, how is
And
this
it
not
doesn't work.
working? My
Yeah.
hormones were fine, everything got checked. I'm like, what is going on? And then I got this, I found this, I don't know if you know about the menopause reset with Dr. Mindy Pels. Have you heard of it?
Yes, yes, yes.
Praise Jesus to her. So that's another show. But just to say though
Yeah.
that it was so empowering. I was like, oh my God, this is what women
Yeah.
need to know. There's things that we can do. There's
I
literally things
know.
that we can do. And my joy level just went back up because I was like, I
Yeah.
stopped putting pressure on myself. I was like, oh fuck, this is how it's supposed to be. Oh, like, okay.
I
So
know.
now I know these are the things I can do naturally when you're feeling so blah, right? It's not normal.
Yeah.
I don't think that
No.
being in the
And we
menopause,
get told that.
it's
That's the
common
story we
because we
get
don't
told.
know. Yeah, so please, it's not normal. So when all your friends are
No,
blah, that's not normal just because
no,
everybody is feeling that way. It's not normal. It's
no.
common because we don't know. But what normal is managing those emotions and
Yes.
following your cycle. And then when you get those, that joy comes back, that pleasure comes back, like all that stuff will come back when you listen
Yes.
to your body. And that's what I did. So after that whole pandemic, I was like, oh, it was so relieving. So I love, having other fitness professionals um get it and start sharing that with women. It's just
It's a
so
whole different way of getting to know yourself as a woman. It's like we
relieving.
start to get to know each other, ourselves all over again. And I really, I will, if when I hear women coming up with that, and I even saw somebody posting it on Facebook the other day, and they said, wait till you get to 40 and perimenopause is hell. And I said, but wait, it doesn't have to be, because that's just a story. That's a story we've been led to believe, but it
Yes.
doesn't. And we get told that by medical professionals too. Oh, well, it's just your hormones. And then it's left at that, and it becomes normal for women to suffer. And I think we can change the language surrounding that. I think we can actually thrive through perimenopause and menopause if we can learn how to treat our bodies and how to do self-care differently. And when you think about the actual words like perimenopause and menopause, like the word pause is actually in there. And can we do that? Can we just pause for a moment and slow ourselves down
Yeah.
and be a little more kind? Because we need more rest. That go hard or go home doesn't work for us anymore.
Yeah.
It just
You
doesn't.
know, I was listening to the podcast with Mel Robbins, and she was saying, oh, no, it wasn't Mel Robbins.
I
Sorry,
love
it was
her.
Christiane Northrup.
Oh, yes. She's
So
good.
she was talking, yeah. and like she is one of the leading, she is the leading women's health expert pretty much. And she was talking about how perimenopause and menopause is literally, and it's like a 15-year. It's like from
Yes, to
30,
all our ladies watching, let's talk about that. This can take some time.
like 35. That's why they come up with the geriatric pregnancy, right?
Right?
Because you don't feel
Yes.
geriatric at 35. You're still young
Yeah.
and vibrant, thriving, but your body is saying something else. So 35 to like 52, it could be 20 years. 20 fucking years.
Yeah.
So this is why we need to learn. And she said that it's literally, it's like your, we need that transition and transformation, that, that resistance. You know how they say that when when you rub something, it gets shiny, that
Yes.
friction. So, these
Yep.
15 years are, you know, adding friction to you, right? You're having those challenges because you're refining, you're becoming, you're stepping into that wisdom. Most of your life
Yes.
lessons are pretty much, unless you've had childhood trauma, most of your life lessons happen between 35, especially, and beyond, like 35 and 50. Like those are really, you think that your childhood is defining years? No. Adulthood is defining because you're parenting
Big
yourself
time.
essentially, right? Like you have to
Yes.
make all the decisions and make all the mistakes. It's like a whole nother, you know, um, development stage. Like it's
Yeah.
happening because when women go through it on the other side, life is great. So they say. They're like, and I'm like, I'm going to make it great right now, moving forward. 48 to, I won't know when I go through menopause because I don't have a period now, but I will know because, I don't know how I'll know. I'll just make it great from now moving forward, knowing that. But I
Yeah.
feel like I'm not going to have that exhaustion.
And
I'm
some,
not going to have that. I don't even
yeah,
know. You just won't
some
force
women
yourself.
go, yeah, some
Yeah.
women go through it and don't have a ton of symptoms. And I was walking with a girlfriend one day, and she's a bit younger than I am. And she said, she said, my coworker was sitting in the office and she's all of a sudden stripping off all her clothes. And she was like, oh my God, I'm just dying. I'm having a hot flash. And she's having multiple hot flashes. And she said, I'm so scared to get to menopause. And I said, don't be, I said, it doesn't have to be that way, because I said, you're
Oh,
really healthy, you take care of yourself. And some women
yes.
don't have as many symptoms. And I think when we do take care of ourselves, we can get through it with fewer symptoms. I think to say that we're going to have no symptoms is a little naive, but I think, can we say we'll have minimal symptoms if possible, and we'll feel a lot better throughout the process if we learn to take care of our body. And it's interesting, like when I was 37, and this is when I was going through burnout, I was having hot flashes, night sweats, all the things. And what I got told was, well, you are that age. And I was like, I'm not 80 years old, for God's sakes. And so, but that's what I kept getting. Or you're depressed. And I was being prescribed
Oh,
antidepressants and anti-anxiety meds.
can we
Right. And
talk
so
about
I
that
just
for
knew
two
that wasn't
seconds?
it.
All these poor
Yes.
women that
Yes.
are just going through perimenopause. It's
Yep.
that feeling of meh, and they're throwing drugs at it when they're like,
Yeah.
ah, you're fucking up women, doctors. Like, but they don't know either, right? So hopefully, like, yes, and the symptoms, pay attention. So this is where you got to pay attention. Like, it doesn't, if you're tired, that's a sign.
That's a
Like,
symptom.
it's a
That's not
sign
normal.
that you need to pause in perimenopause,
Yeah.
right? If you don't
Yeah.
want to go to the party, that's a sign. Don't go to the party. Like it's
Yes.
empowering because you get to say yes to the things you want to do and you get to say no to the things that you want to do. And I have to, it's funny, like having these conversations with my husband. I showed him videos because it's like one day you're fine and the next day you're like totally somebody else, right? And you're like, what is going on? Like, who is this person? Even just the other day, he said, not what is wrong with you, but like, what's going on with you? Like, how could you just do nothing about whatever just happened with the girls or something like that? And I'm like, I don't know, but I am just choosing to stay calm because I don't think freaking out is the solution, and I don't want to freak out. And he was like, I'm like, this is menopause, perimenopause. Like, I'm not going to react the same way I used to react anymore. Now that I know, like, I can't, because that wasn't helping.
Yeah.
Like, taking a spaz or yelling because I was reacting, right? When you're very
Yes.
reactive, that's when it's negative. But if you can be like, okay, so I would love to hear about your um, keep calm, the nervous system stuff, right? Because like when we have a
Yes.
very heightened nervous system, we're very
Yeah.
reactive. Why I'm very big on tapping. It's very calming. It's so
Yes.
calms my nervous system and that keeps me calm. So when shit hits the fan, I'm not freaking out.
Yeah.
Like, what's
Yeah.
happening with you? And I'm like, nothing that I know of. I
Yeah.
was puzzled too because I'm like, yeah, why am I not freaking out when I normally would
Yeah.
have freaked out? I'm like,
And
this
that's
is
the
new.
stuff. Yeah, I find that our generation, I mean, and wasn't brought up with the tools. Like I think now it's starting to happen. What are the tools we need to have in order to help regulate our nervous system a little bit more? Because we have just spent 3 years going through a really stressful time in the pandemic, and so now most of us are living like up here. And then it's like I almost describe it as like a light switch. So you have this little kid that's switching the light switch on and off. So the on is our stress response. So stress goes up and then stress is supposed to come back down. And then it goes back up and it goes back down. Eventually that switch, the child keeps flipping it and it breaks it then in the on position and you can't get it switched off. So once we are under so many moments of that chronic, those big stressors, right? So let's say through the pandemic when everything was stress, all of a sudden our body learns to live up here. And then we can't get out of it. And then we were never given the tools to figure out like the things like tapping, which I love, breath work, rebounding for me. I don't know, you've probably seen little videos of me on my little mini
No,
trampoline.
but
That for
mine is
me,
literally
oh,
living in my living room, my
oh,
rebounder.
I love that. I love that.
My husband's like,
That's
is this
my
gonna stay
thing.
here? I'm like, yes, it is. Sorry. It is a new
Yes.
feature in our living room.
Yes, I've named mine. Her name is Ruby, and she comes everywhere with me. And but yeah, like things like that. Just whether it's essential oils or maybe it's just finding that way of bringing ourselves out of that moment because I
Calm,
can go there
calm,
too.
finding calm. Find
Yes,
your calm. Whatever makes you calm, that's shutting off. That is
yes,
calming your nervous system. That's
and being
taking
able
you out
to
of that fight
just
or flight. It's turning off cortisol. It's
yes, yeah. And I don't know if you probably do this with clients too, even online, I can watch their body language and I can most times get a sense of where they are. So even by their breath, I can tell, are they breathing like are they breathing into their chest and their shoulders? Are they able to sit still? Are they looking everywhere? Are they paying attention to everything but what I'm talking about with them? Are they
Mhm.
being present in the moment? And I think those are cues too. If you find that you cannot stay, and they talk a lot about, I think with, uh, this is an interesting thing. I'm just going to pick your brain on this one because this was something that I was like, huh. All of a sudden, post pandemic, I had a lot of girlfriends who were getting tested for ADHD and they were being medicated. And I was like, but wait now, is it? And I'm not saying this is an incorrect diagnosis at all, but I was just questioning, is this post-pandemic high cortisol levels, stress, combined with perimenopause, brain fog, and it's a perfect storm of everything, but yet we're seeing, and again, not that maybe it is the diagnosis of ADHD, but that made me real curious.
So it's huge. I feel like it's like all of a sudden every woman that I know is being diagnosed with late adult ADHD or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
So ADHD, that squirreling, I think is a defense mechanism. So I think that it's fight or flight, and I think that it is caused from trauma. I don't know when the trauma happened, but it could have been, so childhood trauma, I find, this is my own personal, I've listened to, some books by Gabor Mate and The Body Keeps Score and things like that.
Oh, I
And
love
just
that
from
book.
just from my own training.
Yeah.
So I find that children who experience childhood trauma have ADHD. So little kids, right?
Yeah.
ADHD. So it gets diagnosed when they were young, but sometimes they don't get diagnosed. Women don't get diagnosed until later because I don't know why. But still, I feel like every single woman that I know who has ADHD had childhood trauma of some sort, some sort,
Interesting.
from my personal opinion, from what I've seen of all the women that I know that have been diagnosed with it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, so you're right to think that post-pandemic ADHD would be high because people are on alert. There's post-traumatic stress disorder. They're afraid.
Yes.
And I'll tell you,
Yes.
sometimes, and this is what I'm grateful for the pandemic. The pandemic also, um, you know, gave people a solid stance in their belief systems, right? Like they fought for their belief systems.
Yes.
We saw that people fought.
Yes.
They were like, this is the hill I die on. This is the hill I die on. Like there's a lot of people who drew their line in the sand, and I think that that war literally caused trauma. So I think you're right in terms of that. Whatever is being caused afterwards, people are afraid. They can't let their alarm systems down yet because COVID is still prevalent. We still hear talks about,
Yeah.
oh, they might shut down the airports again, or you might have to, blah, blah,
We're still
blah.
there.
And, all these
Yeah.
things. It's like,
Yeah.
let's tap on that.
Yes.
Stresses me out. Like, fuck,
I know. And there were some
right?
real positives, right? I think if we focus on some of
100%.
the positives that came out of it, for
100%.
sure. But I do think I think we all just, tried to get back to normal. But what is the new normal? And yeah, I'm a creature of curiosity. So I always say to somebody, maybe, like, if they ask me, do you think this causes this? And I'll say, well, maybe. Let's talk about that. Let's get curious about
Yeah.
it. It's a possibility, right?
Anything
I
is
don't think,
possible. There is no,
yeah,
everyone is so unique in their past and their experiences that there's no way that one thing, like everything that I have done and gone through, is going to be the same course or trajectory for somebody else. Because God
no,
knows, I say
yes,
to my friends, like I'm 48, I'm medication free, like, and like that's something you have to celebrate in today's society because
you
like
do.
that's unheard of. Like pretty much every person that I know at my age is on some sort of blood pressure, antidepressant,
Yep.
some sort of something or other,
Yeah.
HRT, something. They're on a something.
Yes. Yes. It's
And
been
I'm like,
become
well,
very
I'm
quote
gonna
unquote
celebrate
normal.
the crap out of the fact that I'm not on any of those things. Like I take some minerals
Amazing.
in the morning, like, and that's about it. Like I feel pretty fantastic for 48. And
Yeah.
this is after
Amazing.
learning and knowing what my body. So for women who are really questioning like what's going on, like why is all this stuff happening? You have to look at some major factors. Your age, like are you going through, you're
Mhm.
probably perimenopausal, so your hormones at any given day are all over the place. Stress,
Yes.
you really need to, and we're not talking, and so this is the other thing I think that we talk about stress management. Do you think that, women need to get rid of stress, or do you think they just need to find better coping skills?
Yeah, because I think that you're right. That's what we do, is just get rid of the stress. But that's crazy because the stress is always going to be there. It's more about how we learn to manage those stressors and how we step out of those situations. And I mean, one of my favorite phrases, and this was actually a coach that I had, because in the beginning of online coaching, I'd have people canceling and I was getting really frustrated. And she looked at me and she said, "Why is that a problem?" And I wanted to punch her, really. Because when she said that, I was like, "What do you mean? It's totally a problem." And then I had to think about it, and I was like, "You're right. I made it a problem." And I'll say, why is that a problem? It's not a problem until I make it a problem. So that's one of my techniques to get myself, it just interrupts that circuit of like, this is a problem, this is a problem. And it's like, but why is that a problem? It's not actually a problem. It's not a problem until I make it a problem.
Yeah, because what I did a poll in my group about stressors and what were the biggest stressors in women's lives. Like, what stresses you out the most, right?
Yep.
It was not being where they wanted to be. The other one was people, relationships stress them out.
Okay.
And I can't remember the other one. But anyways, I couldn't believe it. I was like, yep, people. So people stress them out the most, or relationships. And I'm like, well, you know what? Like, unless you're like running away, and this is not uncommon for women to be like, I just want to run away. They just want to run away.
I had somebody say that to me today.
I just want to run away. I want to run away from my job. I want to run away from my husband, my kids, my responsibilities. Like, we just want freedom. We just want to just like not think. We just want to be taken care of. We just, we want to just, it's like basically we just want to run away to being 8 years old again. That's what we want to be. We just want to run
No
away.
responsibilities.
And just be 10 and play and have fun and all these things. But that's not going to happen.
No.
So because stress is not going anywhere, it's how you manage and it's what you truly perceive. Like, all of a sudden, what if everything in your life wasn't stressful? Like, what if it wasn't? What if it was just, an opportunity for you to get grateful? What if it was just an opportunity for you to get grateful for all that you have, all that you can do, all that, we forget how lucky and privileged and blessed we are with all our abilities, even those with limited abilities. Like, I grew up in a household, my dad, and it's his birthday today too. So happy birthday, Dad.
Yes, happy birthday to your dad.
Yeah, he's 73 today. And you know what? He is deaf. So like, and hard of hearing, and I can laugh because it's so funny. But so he's hard of hearing. He has like he's got like almost no mobility now. Like, he has a scooter. Like, he pretty much could use a wheelchair, but he makes his way around the house. Like, so he's got so much to, whine and about, right? In terms of what he doesn't have compared to other people. And he doesn't. He's like the most creative. He's the most, not always the most optimistic. He can be pretty grumpy, but from what he's accomplished and the love and support that he constantly gives, like me and my siblings and my mom, it's like, how can anybody with full abilities complain? Like, really? So, what if,
gratitude's powerful.
So powerful, because we're in a process of an evolution. So women over the age of 40, you're evolving, right? So all your pains and woes and this and that and fat and whatever it is that's causing you grief right now, like, it's there to give you some contrast. It's really there to give you a contrast for you to understand your body better, because it's giving you pain. I love this. The acronym is Pay Attention Inward Now.
Oh, I like that.
You're welcome. So your pain is showing you that and this is what I did with my body. And I'm like, my body is in pain. Like, not physical pain, but even just looking at it, I'm like, what am I not getting? Like, I know my body is a metaphor for everything that I'm feeling mentally, emotionally, spiritually. Like, what am I missing here? And so when I finally got I was directed divinely to Dr. Mindy Pals and her menopause reset. And when I actually read it, I was like, Jesus Christ. Like, all of a sudden, everything was a gift. Everything was a gift. Everything was a gift. Thank you, body.
It really is.
Thank you, body. Thank you, fat. Thank you, like, night sweats. Thank you, like, all the things. Thank you, all the symptoms
We
for
get
showing
to,
me,
right?
yeah, that you can change that. It's just showing you that there's something you need to change in your life. Gain a different
Yeah.
perspective. Chill the fuck
Yeah.
out. Say
Yeah.
no. Say yes. Like stand in your power. Like it's so menopause is like such a gift to women if we just pay attention and listen, right? You don't owe anybody anything, just yourself. And when we talked about filling your cup, like this is the best time to like fill your cup so that you can like generously pour onto others. Like it's so much fun.
Absolutely. And
So
I think
much.
at this time of life too, like when we get to these ages in our midlife, there's a lot of things happening. We have aging parents, we
Yes.
have, we have more responsibility. And so you're seeing that, and how sometimes it can feel really challenging to find gratitude, when we have, or, we're losing people that are close to us. We're going through some of those traumatic experiences. And how do we find joy? How do we find gratitude in the midst of all of this? And then all of a sudden it feels like our body is just
Failing
broken.
us.
It's
Yeah,
failing
yeah.
us. Yeah, yeah, yes. And so there's a piece of anger. It's like, I'm so angry at my body. I'm so angry at life right now. And it, like you had said, if we can turn that around and look at everything as a gift, and even the experience of menopause as a gift, that we get to have this experience and we get to learn more about our bodies. We have that privilege.
Yeah, and it's a struggle. We're choosing to struggle
Mhm.
once you know. So I'm going to just retract that a little bit better because I feel like up until you know why you're so friggin' angry and you feel your body is failing you, once you know that it's menopause and that there's something that you could do about it, and like, just ask me, I'll tell you, then it's on you. Like, if you choose to continue to struggle,
Mhm.
that that's you. That's on you. Because literally, there's no reason. And
Yes.
yes, I'm special. Am I special because I've cracked the case or cracked the code? No, it's a choice. I literally choose to not complain. I choose to not, look at this as a negative. I choose to like own my crownness, like step into it, right? So, yeah, I want to live here. If you want to live down here, that's totally cool.
Yeah.
That's
And it,
totally
it
cool.
does, that change does take, it's a lifestyle change. It's you're also going to have to build boundaries with yourself and with others. And I think people find that challenging, because taking care of ourselves the way that we need to be able to feel great during that transition of menopause, it's a change, and it's learning to live differently. But it's amazing when you get there. And like I always say, the way that I feel now well, next month I'll be 47 versus 37 is night and day. And I would not trade that for anything. The way that I live today and the way that I eat, the way that I care for myself is all worth it. 500 times, yes, it's worth it.
Yeah. And you know what? And I think the people who they're going to take the full 15 years. They're going to struggle for 15 years until menopause happens because then it's like a magic switch. They just, those hormones are gone. You just chill. You just chill.
Yeah,
Like
it
older
changes.
ladies, they're just so chill, right? They don't freak out. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so I feel like you're either going to suffer the full 15, 20 years or you're going to,
That's a
you're
long
going to be,
time.
yeah, you're going to be way more proactive
Yeah.
and you're going to shorten that and enjoy it more and find ways and empower yourself and not feel
Yes.
obligated to people please and feel guilty or whatever else. Like I just had an event last night and some people canceled last minute. I don't care, but the
Yeah.
reasoning, the oh sorry I can't make it tonight, all good, see you next time, right? And my response was short. Like I didn't get into it. Oh, why not? How come?
Yeah.
Here, it's all good. Like you, And some
totally
were like, I
fine.
just want to stay home. I'm like, good for you. Good, that's
Yes.
great. Good for you for wanting to
Yes.
stay home. But you don't have to feel bad for wanting to stay home. I'm like, that's exciting. That's okay.
You're
But
taking care of you.
yes, as long as you're taking care of you and not coming for whatever other reasons, right? But just like because
Yes.
you don't want to or you have anxiety or whatever else, right? Like
Yes.
that's all. But I'm like, that's totally fine. And then, I get these long-winded explanations. I'm like, okay, we don't owe anybody explanations. It's just a no.
No.
Thank you, but no thank you. And that's it. And I think that's the hard thing that people can't wrap their head around is justification. Like you have to justify why you do anything or make any
Yes.
decision. Like if I,
Yes.
we could impart something on the listeners, it'd be like, please stop justifying. You are totally an adult. You can make your own decisions and you owe no one any explanation as to why. And if they probe you, why? Oh, why? Oh my God, hang up on them. Be like, oh, sorry.
Yeah. I lost the connection. I know.
Just quickly
That's
hang up the
true.
phone. Oh,
Yeah. Because I think typically when we talk about like the superwoman and the doers and the type A personalities, we are also people pleasers a lot of the
yes,
time.
yes, yes,
And
yes.
and so that's part of that nice girl sort of, I don't want anybody to not like me. So I'm gonna please whoever I can
Yes,
to get the
yes.
approval so that I matter.
It's a huge that's like a fundamental need as humans. We need that belonging. We need that community. We need that, you like me, we're friends, okay? Yeah, I totally get that. Totally get that. So it's very you know, personal, like, but to break that in the terms of like if it's making you sick, if it's upsetting you, like if you're losing sleep over it and there's a lot of guilt over letting people down, yeah, and this is where I'm like very direct and being like, no, it takes work. It takes, being very self-assured in terms of your needs and what you need to be able, and you don't have to do it mean. You don't have to be mean and saying no to somebody, I'll send you my whole setting boundaries resource if you want, like to how to set a boundary or how to say no to somebody before you say yes. Because when you say yes to things and you commit to things and then back out, like unless it's an emergency or whatever else, like you
Yeah.
struggle with, I think, more self-integrity than anything. Like why do you say yes to things that you're not going to follow through on, number one? And but still you're entitled to change your mind if all of a sudden you're feeling like, you know what, I know I committed to this, but I'm really not up to it today. You know what? You're entitled to that too, right? So it's about
Exactly.
how you feel, how are you left feeling when you make decisions that are for your, I don't know, health. You're not in your health. It's for your feelings, for your comfort, maybe. I don't know. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, I do. And that if I change my mind, if I get, if you've invited me to the party and I've had just this crazy day, my day got shifted upside down, and I'm like, I am exhausted. I just can't. And I know it's going to affect my health if I push things, which is what a lot of us do. We push the limits all the time. It's that decision of saying, I just need to put up that boundary for myself and say, you know what, thank you so much for inviting me, but today is just not a great day for me to be there, because and again, like you said, we always want to explain, see how I put myself there, and I wanted to explain that today's just not the day. That's
Yeah.
okay. And we
Yeah.
that, and we don't owe
Totally.
the explanation.
And
Yeah.
please stop probing people as to why. Just let them be.
Let them
I
be.
just let them be. And we get attached to outcomes, right? We get attached to, oh, but you
Yeah.
said you were coming. Why aren't you coming? Like, you'll be fine. Focus on the other 10 people that are at your party. Like for the one person that's not going to be there, it's okay.
That's
You'll
right.
be fine. Just let them
That's
be.
right.
It's okay if
They
they
still
don't
love
come.
you.
Yes, they do. And they're gonna make it up to you for sure 10 times over the
Yeah.
next time. And they'll call you
Yes.
tomorrow to be like, check in and see how your thing was, and sorry they couldn't come, and you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you're not going to lose friends over it. I think that we take
No,
things so personally. Like we take things to heart
we
because we
do.
care and we love our people. But like, you know, it's a I feel like sometimes I live on this lone island of not feeling lit and feelingness, but just not being reactive and affected negatively by other people's decisions and their actions because like it's not good for me. It's not good for anybody to allow other people to affect you negatively in any
Yeah.
way. And that and make and so sometimes I find like there's a few people who live like that and who get it. There's not many people, and this is why like I come across maybe sometimes a little cold or a little like harsh or a little like because it's like yes you can yes you can do whatever the fuck you want. Like, I don't understand like why are we having this conversation? And you know like some people need soft explanation as to and it's like okay yeah there's you can explain it that way too because how some people maybe I was just raised a little bit more direct and other people were raised with a little bit more explanation as to why things are the way that they are and you know what I mean and this is how things are so it's interesting I love getting different perspectives right in
Oh my
terms of
gosh.
like
I
cold
love
and
that.
I'm totally
It was
not
so funny. I had
I'm
a it reminds me of I had a group coaching call a couple of weeks ago. I'm the soft person coming in. Usually I'm like, okay, let's just, how can we do this a different way? And I was trying to just I forget what it was about. But anyway, it might have been about wine and drinking wine. And I'd say, well, and they totally called me on and they said, Gineen, just tell us to get our shit together. And I
So
was like,
some people want to hear
exactly.
it,
Yeah.
or not that they want to hear it, they need to hear it. And we need that parent,
It was
right?
funny.
I think as adults, the one thing we lack is self-parenting, right? Because we had our parents
Yeah.
tell us what to do, and now we have to parent ourselves
Yes.
and kick ourselves in the ass and force us to do all the things that we want to do. That's why coaches
Yeah.
are great. Coaches are
Yeah.
great in time in
Oh, it was
the
Halloween candy. I was like, what? But why? Why is that Halloween candy still there? Just throw it out. You don't need it. It's no good for anybody else. But it was so funny. I was trying to come in real soft and gentle, and they were like, just tell us to get our shit together.
my God, I did not
They were
have
so
Halloween
sweet.
candy this year. I didn't have any this year. First year, probably in
That's
my
amazing.
entire life. Okay, I ate enough as a kid to make up for an entire lifetime, but I did not have any this year for the first time ever in my life. I'm so proud of that.
Wow. That
I
is
know.
really, you should be proud of that.
I know. I am so proud of that. Sugar's
And
the
not that
devil.
it's wrong to have a piece of candy. It's not, but
Oh, I love dark chocolate. Chocolate is my thing. Like last night, I went to a party.
that's a
Uh,
luxurious thing.
yeah, and I had like a chocolate
Yeah.
covered pretzel even. Like it was this big. It was like this fat. It was delicious. So I'm not saying don't live. I'm saying that, there's the 80/20 rule. I'm the 80/20 girl. Like,
Yes.
yeah,
I
if it's
love
worth
that. That's
it,
my
I
philosophy
love
too.
like remember I said to you, I'm like a foodie. So
Yeah.
I'm not gonna eat. Look, I'm not shaming anybody here. This is
Well,
just
and we should
this is
enjoy
what
our food.
I'm not the Costco cake girl. So if I go to a party and you have Costco cake, I'm not gonna eat it. I don't care if it's a birthday party. I don't care. I don't care. I love you, but I'm not eating that. I just won't put it into my
I
body. Like
love
I just
that Costco cake.
so right. But if you make a homemade cake, I'm fucking crushing that.
Mm,
I will eat that because it's made with real
right?
homemade ingredients. It's made with
Yes.
love. Like it's not plastic. Like
Yeah.
so I'm not saying I don't eat or enjoy like food saying I don't eat Halloween candy. I have dark chocolate almost every day.
Yeah.
Eat the
That's
good stuff.
amazing.
I think that's what we
Yes.
deserve, right? It's like top level shelf alcohol, top level shelf food.
Right.
Not
Well,
drinking, 150 proof gasoline anymore. Like not even drinking anymore. But we're like, but I had
I
mulled
think we
wine last
forget
night.
that
That was yummy.
as women. Like we are special unicorns and we deserve like the best things, right?
Top level, the best of the best.
Yeah,
So do our bodies.
I
And when you
agree.
start to give your body those things and you like, and this is the pleasure part, right? I'm all into food porn. I'm like, if you put a nice piece of cake, a picture of a home, I'm like drooling. I'm like, that's food porn. I'm like, that excites me. That excites me.
Yeah,
So we're ending this on food
we're so aligned. We're so aligned.
porn. Creme brulee, homemade creme brulee, like something like that.
Oh,
And it's work, right? Like, right? Organic crackers, like things like that.
yeah. And it's true. Like when we talk about things that
Well, it's
support
enough
our
love.
body, it's a love language, right? And we support our body into and we're still talking, into that perimenopausal phase. When our hormones are out of balance, we need to be in that space of healing. So one of our most powerful forms of healing is through food. Food is one of
Mhm.
our most available forms of medicine. But I think a lot of women have like that fatigue, right? They're just so tired all the time that the thought of meal prep and food prep is just exhausting to them. And so for the women that I work with, I say, let's bring some of that joy back in surrounding food, because they've lost their joy in a lot of different places. And food is one of the areas. And they're just so sick and tired of everything that, I'll say, can we make it look like art? Can we make it be beautiful? Can we bring that joy of just making something like homemade and with beautiful ingredients that support our body? And I always try to sway people from using the language of like good and bad foods, because food is
Right?
neither good nor bad. It's neutral. Food is neutral,
Totally.
but it
Yeah,
can be supportive and it can be not so supportive to our bodies. So
right.
what feels supportive? What feels amazing in this beautiful body of yours that deserves so much respect, especially at this time of your life?
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. Respect our body through food. Do you eat and exercise according to your cycle?
I do. Yes. Yeah, as much as
Do.
possible. As much as possible. I mean, there are times, of course, I'm not going to say that I'm perfect by any
No,
means. I don't ever
yeah,
sit here and try
same.
to pretend that, but I do. It for me, it does make a difference. And understanding, this is the thing when I work with women and they'll say, "Oh my gosh, I did so well with my nutrition," and then my period hit, and I was just off the rails. And I say, okay, that's okay. Good awareness on that piece, but can we learn to support our body better? So if you know your period's coming up, we know we're going to have more cravings. We're going to want those like more dense carbohydrates, but the body's actually it's asking for more nutrition as a whole. So can we be more supportive in that time and just really fuel the body with things that are easily digested? We know we're also more insulin resistant at that time, or less insulin sensitive. So if we're waking up and we have the cravings for, I don't know, a bagel or a croissant, and that's what we have first thing in the morning, well, that's challenging, because at that time in our period, in our cycle, the body doesn't handle those foods nearly as well. It doesn't manage those heavier, more dense carbohydrates as well during that time. And then we end up with more sugar cravings, and then we're more tired, and it's this vicious circle. But if we can learn about doing that, and I love that you do that
Yeah,
too,
I
and
love
just to be
it.
more gentle.
I just discovered also that potatoes, when they're cooled, like cooked potatoes that are now
Yes.
cooled, are no longer sugar, like not
They're more of a
digestible as
resistant
starch.
starch.
I,
Yes.
like
And
my new
rice as
favorite
well.
thing is potato salad and rice too. I didn't know about rice,
Yes.
but I'm
Yeah,
like,
if you cool it. Yep.
so like sushi.
Yes. And I think
Really?
that's when yeah, yes. Now, when we say that though, everybody's going to be, I have to back the train up a little bit, because now
Yes. Because if
I've
you tell me,
experimented with
right, I'm
yeah,
like,
for me, a continuous glucose monitoring. Sushi just gives me huge spikes. And again, it's not something I eat all the time. So it's not a big deal, but I have to be mindful of that, because I'll still spike with certain foods at really any time during my cycle. So I've known through using a continuous glucose monitor, I've been able to really fine tune a lot of my nutrition to figure out, okay, what are the foods that just are more blood sugar friendly for me? And it doesn't mean
yeah,
that I
I
completely
taste
avoid
it.
those foods.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Potatoes don't spike your glucose, cold potatoes, but cold rice will spike your glucose.
Well, actually both those will. So I can manipulate that though a little bit by and now we're going down another rabbit hole, but that's okay.
Yes, I love this
Yeah,
conversation.
I know. So if I actually did an experiment once with oatmeal. I'll give this example because it'll hopefully be easier for everybody to understand. So I wanted to show, because for some people, oatmeal can be blood sugar friendly. And again, that's where we're all individual. But for me, sometimes not so much. So oatmeal for me, and I, kind of doctored it up. I had some walnuts, almonds, hemp hearts, things like that.
Yeah, you got to
I
put the
had it
fat.
in the, yeah, it still spiked my blood sugars. Then the next time I had same oatmeal, but I had 2 hard-boiled eggs before. So I front loaded with protein and then I waited just a little bit and then had the oatmeal, much better blood sugar response. So if I'm just mindful, it doesn't mean that I never have potatoes. I'm just very mindful of the portion and I eat my fiber, so my vegetables first and my protein, and then I have the potatoes. And I know that seems like sometimes that feels like a lot of food rules. However, it does create a better
Not.
blood sugar response for me.
I think it's a learning. It's a learning curve.
Yeah, it's
It's
learning
not
about our
rules.
bodies.
I don't think those are rules. I think that's a learning curve
Yeah,
because people say it
yeah,
feels like
I agree.
rules because
Yeah,
you just don't understand why it's beneficial to eat that way.
yeah,
That's all. And
yeah,
once you learn
yeah.
that how your body works and the things that that you eat affects blood sugar, because blood sugar is going to spike your
Yes,
cortisol, and anybody who's
yes.
wanting to eat, that's the number one hormone that you need to control: cortisol and insulin.
Mm-hmm.
So
They're magical.
yeah, and like you said, if you really love oatmeal or if you really love sushi, you will
Yeah,
figure out a way if you monitor your glucose. I'm not there, but you
it's
will
pretty
figure out
cool.
a way to do it in a way that is going to be healthy in the long
Yes.
term, meaning that spike your glucose.
Yeah,
I feel like
yeah.
because I didn't know rice did that, so if I was to ever go and have like a big sushi dinner, which I haven't had in a while,
So
because like
good.
I'm on this anal uh wild fish, and it's hard to get that kind of quality. But so so if I could learn to make it myself, I will. But you will learn to eat it in a way like I would probably go for a big walk after, or you know what I mean, like to
Exactly.
offset
Yes.
the spike in the sugar, or just to make arrangements to be able to offset the gluten. I can't remember what I ate the other
Yeah.
night, but I just stood there and did a whole bunch of squats. And Tyler was like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Offsetting the sugar that I just ate." But even though it wasn't sugar, it was just
It's
something that I
true.
ate that was high glucose that I was just like,
Yeah.
I wanted it, I ate it. So how do you offset it? It's really that, and it's not balanced because you have to,
Just
the learning
understanding.
curve is really to get you to that 80%. And then it's a
Yeah.
20%. How do I make this work for me without,
Yeah.
detrimental? Because your diet is going to be key to hormone balancing. Because last night I didn't even take magnesium. I slept like a stone, though. Still, I'm on a new supplement
That's
called Shilajit.
amazing.
That could be a whole nother show. We could be talking for hours,
Okay.
Gineen.
I
So,
know. I know.
but so I think that's helping me sleep more than the magnesium right now. But
Awesome.
yeah, so just no night sweats, and I still had a little bit of alcohol. I had a little bit of sugar last night, and I thought I went to bed and I'm like, oh, please just let me have a good sleep. Like I hope this doesn't, unravel, right? Because you do have to
Right.
stick to it. Like if you're on a plan or on a goal or whatever it is, like in anything, you need a
Yes.
plan.
You have to give it time.
Even if it's weight loss, if it's hormonal balancing, if it's joy, finding joy or whatever it is, like it's going to
Yeah.
be, you're getting on this, you got to create a plan. Like even if it's the joy plan or the whatever, the F plan, that's another
Yeah.
movie that I
Yes.
saw.
Yeah.
It's like, she left her husband and she went to Greece. I can't remember the name of the movie. And he's like, "Where are you going?" She's like, "I'm going to Greece." And she's like, "Are you on a new diet?" She's like, "Yeah, it's called the F plan. It's like sex for breakfast, sex for dinner, and sex for and sex for snack or something. She called it the F plan. Anyway, so whatever plan that you're
Oh
on,
my God. I love that.
you have to, just, you know, stick to it. And then once you get it, then you can start to like kind of mix and match and you know
Yeah,
what
I
the other
think you
thing
need
too is that
those, the base roots, right?
yes, because I think
Like the foundation.
once women we start to cut out the toxic food, the toxic thoughts, the toxic people, like all those things out of your life, and you stick to it for a while, then you get really confident in your values because that's what you value. If you value mental health,
Hmm.
if you value physical health, if you value spiritual health, if you value any of your health, you will learn how to set boundaries, you will learn how to eat well, you will learn how to move in the
Yes.
way that feels good for you. Like I'm like my next kind of little thing is somatic movement, right?
Mhm.
Because I'm such a body
Amazing.
groover. When you figure out what your highest values are in life and you eat and you do all the things to support that, the little bits
Yeah.
here and there that you can't control won't matter. You'll be able to go out
Yeah.
and the crappy because it's going to be crappy to you
Yeah.
eventually. If you
Yeah.
get to that level of like health,
Yeah. When your
oh,
health becomes a non-negotiable, right? Like my health
yeah,
is a non-negotiable.
100%. Like full stop. My number one top priority, my one number biggest value, my kids' health, my family's health. Like
Yeah.
money is not an object. Like, I don't care. Like I
Yeah.
will forego whatever I need to forego because your health is your wealth. That's my belief, anyways. And people
It
are like,
is.
oh, I could never be that thing. When you have good health, when you have optimal health, I think that or it's just like when you have, you know, an optimal life, when shit goes sideways and it's taken from you, how fast you bounce back from that is indicative on how you take care of yourself.
Big
Because
time.
life is going to throw shit at you. Did you expect to have your husband end up in
All
a
the
car
time.
accident at a young age? No. Did it throw you for a fucking loop? For how many years, Gineen? Like 6 years? My
6
divorce took
years.
me out for 8 years and a pandemic in there. So 5 years
Wow.
plus a pandemic, 8 years. I was in like
Wow.
a brain fog of
Yeah. No
menopause
doubt.
shit. So, and I had great coping skills and tools. Like literally, like I was
Yeah.
lucky. Like I got through my divorce
Yes.
pretty quick, and then the pandemic hit. So, like things can compound. What are your coping skills and tools? And so I'm bouncing out of it. 5 years. I'm like, okay, whew, nipped it in the bud. It's only been 2 or 3 months, literally. And now I'm like, I'm not going to struggle until 52 or whenever. Like, no fucking way. No way.
I
My
know,
kids don't
right?
deserve a wreck of a mother, like a basket case of a mother. My kids don't
No.
deserve a zombie of a mother. Like, if those are how you're feeling, like brain fog, zombie, exhausted, like unhappy, miserable,
Mhm.
get your get the menopause reset. That's the biggest book. Call Gineen. Like literally call me because like there's simple things that
Yes.
you can
Reach
do.
out to somebody that,
Simple things you
yeah.
can do. 45 to 55 is the highest rate of suicide for women. Age 45 to 55. That's when women kill themselves.
That's a shame. That is sad, right?
45 to 55.
Yeah.
It makes my heart ache to think that the
Yeah.
children, the families that are destroyed from lack of education because women just don't know this. They don't know that their
Mm.
hormones at are out of control, but they're
Yeah.
supposed to be. We just don't know. We just didn't realize. 37, you're 37, it hit for you. 37, it hit for me. Me and my husband split
Yeah.
up at 38. And I'm like, geez, if I had known then what I was going through, I remember having a conversation with my mother-in-law, and she was like, I was like, I need help. Like, things are not great. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what do I do? Like, in some sort of words. And she said to me, yeah, I remember around your age, I went through the same thing. She didn't and I'm like, okay, like it was normal. Like women at the age of 37, 38 go through this midlife crisis. But it's not a midlife crisis, it's menopause. It's perimenopause. If she, like now I know to my daughter, I'm like, let's get you a snack or let's get you
Yes.
calm. Like, let's get you calm.
You are just
What day
hangry.
yeah. What day are you in your period? Let's hug it out. Like, you need a hug. Like, that's what women
Yes.
at that age need. They need hugs. They need support. They need a community, right? Not to be like, oh, that happened to me. No, that they need support. Like, I hear you. I'm here for you. What can I give you? What do you need? Let me
Yeah.
listen to you. Women need,
Yeah.
and we need good food at the right time of the month. Like, right?
Exactly.
Following
Exactly.
things. Like, as much as men are simple creatures, I feel like women are simple too. We need good food, hugs, a pet or a baby. We can find one.
Yes. Borrow one.
I'm like, if there's a baby within like arm length of me, I'm all over
Oh,
it. Sorry, not sorry.
oh,
Don't bring your baby near me if you don't want me to
our
like
neighbor
hug
just
you.
had a baby and I was like, come here, come here.
My hormones need it. Not even like I
Yes.
tell my mommy asks for a hug, please just oblige because I just need it. Or if you see mommy for no reason, just give me a hug because I need it for sure. You can't not
We
benefit
need all
from a
those same things. And it's so interesting. Like when we go back to that, like I when we had our fitness studio, so I had a little studio of my own, but then we had a
hug.
powerlifting gym. So I was with all the boys, right? And I did powerlifting, I did strong women. And that's where I wish I had have had this information about like cycle syncing before, because I was
Right.
dragging my butt into the gym and struggling through these workouts during my menstrual cycle. And I was like, but why am I so weak? And I was blaming myself and shaming myself, where it was, if I had have had this information, I could have said, you know what, it's that menstrual time of my cycle and I need to take things a little more chill. I need to back off of all these really go hard or go home workouts. Like there's a time and a place, but yeah.
Yeah. I hired a personal trainer in the summer around June. And
Awesome.
oh, but the thing is that she didn't know about any of it.
I know a lot of trade. I'm not going to say no, that it's
And I
they were
didn't know.
coming with that information.
I was like, like
Yeah.
2 weeks in or whatever else, I guess whatever I was in my cycle, I was like
Yep.
significantly stronger than I was the week before. And the week before that, I was fucking crying.
Big time.
Like
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was like, I don't know, I just really into like, moving my body. I thought it was
Yeah.
the first workout with her and I was crying and I was like, this is just me like letting go of me giving myself this investment because personal training, it's not cheap, right? So when
It's an
you
investment.
give yourself that
Yeah.
gift and you invest in yourself, I
Yeah.
was like, like finally, right? And then every week
Yeah.
different experience, and now I'm like, and she didn't
Yes.
know. We were together for 2 or 3 months. She didn't know. Now I'm like,
And it's
holy
the thing where we're not taught that. We don't know what we don't know. I think in any of the fitness courses that I've ever done, there was not until just recently, there was no word about women's hormones, how they should work out. And I'll even say, even as, and I had been at that point, so I started doing personal training in 2003. And even when I hit burnout in 2013, I would never have known how to coach somebody physically, like with exercise through burnout. I didn't have that knowledge until I went through it myself. I just wouldn't have known what exercises to give them and how to train them. And it's a very gentle method. And even things like specific heart rate training for burnout. That's something that you need to know about as well. But so I think it's just we don't know what we don't know, and we're getting there. We're getting there, but there's a lot of work to do to spread this word. And that's why I'm so grateful for you and for this opportunity, because I think the more we can spread information like this, the more successful every single woman can be.
yes, I
Every single one.
100% agree. And
Yeah.
I thank you so much for your time today. I know you're busy. I know you're getting ready for a trip and whatever else. So But I feel like we needed that little extra time to like get that last
Yes.
little important bit out, right? All about,
Yes.
looking at the mental,
I
the
know.
mental, the emotional, spiritual, the physical health and how we can really
Yeah.
support ourselves and the people in our lives and let them know, hey, like, do you need a hug? Do you need a snack? Do you need just hear, like, something,
What do
right?
you
Do you
need?
need to punch something? Like literally like that anger bit is legit. So, listening, having that community, I think it's going to start with you and with you watching or listening right now. It starts with you being the woman who now listen to this and know a little bit more to be like, how can I be that pillar of support to the women in my life? How can I share this information with them so that you can
We all help each other.
see the change you want to see? Yeah, it's the ripple effect, right? So
Yes.
but you got to be it. And the only way you can be it is you have to live it. And the only way to live it is to do it and just take those little steps, right? So I thank you so much, Gineen, for being here.
Oh
I feel
my
like this is
gosh.
just the beginning. Will you go,
I
will you
know.
go on another date with me?
Yes. Can we have a second date? Because I know we
Like,
could talk about so many more things. Like we didn't even
yeah,
really get into, like when we talk about nervous system. Oh my gosh, that's a whole other.
you know
Oh,
what? And also I would love to talk about like, your relationship, what the ups and downs of your relationship through, a trauma like that. Like that must have been like crazy. Like you guys were still together
that's
to tell the story, right? Like so many things, right? Because
a good one.
right, like think
I think
about
that
that. If you
needs to get
haven't
out
told
there.
that story, you should talk about that because I would love
You
to
have
know.
spidey senses because I've often thought of that. This is the real deal thing when we go through trauma.
Story.
Yeah. Yeah. It affects it. And
Um,
we've been blessed so many times, but it wasn't
just
always
on a
easy.
small note, we'll talk about this, but getting your story, women, like write your story down, as insignificant as you think it
Yeah.
is, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like write it
Yes.
down. Everyone has a book in them, like
I
even an
do.
ebook. I don't care. Like, record it
Yes.
digitally, something, just write a timeline down, even for your kids, just share your story with your children, but share your journey of relationship,
Yeah.
of going through a relationship of trauma, like, an
Mhm.
accident to the healing to the how, the before, during, after, and that
It's had
journey.
many layers.
And that's what I felt when I watched your video. I was like, holy crap. Like, it was so like positive and everything else like that. I'm like, I'm sure he wasn't positive every minute of every day. There were times of like frustration and anger and I'm just like, how did they navigate that? Like that's, warrior shit right
Yeah.
there. So, share that
There you go.
story.
There's a whole new, because that's another hour and a half all on its own. But I think it's
No,
important. I think you're
100%.
right. So thanks
Yeah.
for bringing that up.
Okay, second date. We'll do it.
Second date, yes, yes.
Thank you
Laura, you're
so.
amazing.
No, you're amazing, Gineen. No, you are.
Thanks. You you
Okay,
are.
I'm gonna pause
And
this.
thank you to the
People watching. It's still recording. So if
yes.
you have a
Oh, yes.
resource, Gineen, if you want to share a little PDF or whatever you've got, if you've got like a
Absolutely.
little resource, just send me the link
Yes.
and then I can share it
Sure.
in the event. And so as you guys were
Perfect.
watching, remember I'm mediating this live tomorrow. So whatever questions that you have, just I hope you were writing them in or pausing as long as we went along.
Yes. Yes. And any questions at all, please reach out. I love new Facebook friends. Friend me on Facebook. And if you have any questions at all, please, please,
And
please reach
Gineen
out.
is a
I'm just
member.
here to help.
And Janine's a member in the
Yes.
group. So in
Yes.
the innermost group, so just hit her up
So
if you have
excited.
anything
Awesome.
specific or you want to ask her too. So thank
Yeah.
you. See
Thank you
you.
so much, Lori. Okay. Thanks so much.